Hello everyone and welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We are so excited to have you here for this webinar where Mariah Tang, Stamats Chief Content Marketing Officer, will walk us through how to unlock greater discoverability from your long-form content using a strategy we call the asset remix. You'll see real examples from your peers, practical takeaways, and how this approach helps your content show up across search, social, and video without adding more work for your team. We'll save some time at the end for live Q&A, so please leave your questions in the Q&A box as we go along. And if you're worried about taking notes, don't be. We'll send you a copy of the recording along with the slides to everyone who registered in the upcoming days. And with that, Mariah, let's get started.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for Rev Up Your Brand. We're going to talk today about how to unlock discoverability from your long-form content using a little strategy we like to call Asset Remix. And in turn, we're going to show you some examples of groups that are just crushing it in AI search and SEO. So let's jump right in. We all know that clicks and page views are golden. We love them, and they're not going away anytime soon. They're a wonderful marker of your success in content strategy. But we also know that a site visit is not the only thing that connects people with your brand. That's been the case for a really long time, and the advent of AI search has really shined a light on that. Pretty obvious, but not super tracked metric. In the future, clicks to your website likely won't even be the main way that people are finding you, and we're seeing that start to accelerate. So it's coming soon, and now is a great time to really rev up your brand discoverability. And the good news for all of you listening today is that the core of that discoverability strategy has not changed over the years. It's still proven to be making content that provides answers that people want, answering people's questions, and sharing those answers where those individuals are looking for it. I want to add, for everybody that's techie out there, schema markup is a really big deal as well, and we're going to have that conversation with you soon if we haven't already. But we're not going to talk about it today. Today we're talking about content marketing. So we wanted to start off with a little story of, well, really an example of a group that's really doing a great job of thinking beyond the click to enhance their discoverability. What you're seeing on the screen here is an article, a MedBlog article by UT Southwestern about intermittent fasting. They've paired video with social, with long-form blog content to really create this cross-channel, oftentimes off-platform experience for people to engage with their subject matter experts and get the answers they need to questions that are really trending or really important to them right now. With the new dietary guidelines for Americans coming out, with the new year on us, with everybody's health top of mind, this is a really timely story and a really great setup. So let's talk it through. Like I said, MedBlog article, a doctor's notes video that is published out on YouTube and embedded onto this page, and then social media posts to really help spread the word about this story. It's timely. There are multimedia options. No matter how you prefer to engage with a piece of content, you have an option here. And it answers specific questions. You're going to hear me say that a bunch of times today because it's really, really important. This strategy really works, and I'm going to show you how we know that. UT Southwestern earned what I like to call the Google sandwich with this story. Up at the top of the page, they earned that AI snippet mention. You can see it right there on the top. They were the first citation in the Google AI overview, which is really cool. Bottom of page one, they've won another placement with their video for the doctor's notes out on YouTube. So you can see at the top, there's that clickable citation link to their site. At the bottom, a clickable citation to the doctor's notes video out on YouTube. One of those is not their website. One of them will not give them page views, but it's still a really amazing interface for individuals who want to learn about this topic and now have this brand familiarity with UT Southwestern. Let's scooch on over to Gemini for the AI friends out in the group. They have won a named mention in Gemini. And they also won a citation link, which is really cool. They got a couple of their different centers mentioned here and one of the condition pages, which is really important for their type of work out in healthcare. So cool to see those engagements as well. People can get the information they want right there, or they can click through and learn more. And again, they got that top video for the intermittent fasting doctor's notes video in the Google Videos tab. Very cool to see there. Plus, and this one really made me excited, they got 1.2 thousand views of their reel that they shared out on Facebook. So you can see the multi-dimensional ways that UT Southwestern used this story to create a lot of different touch points for their audience. So when these doctor interviews are conducted, we take video over Teams. We then share that video with the team there at UT Southwestern. They take it and make these fantastic videos while the team works on these blog articles and social. So it's really maximizing the very minimal touch point with this very busy physician. She gave us 25 minutes and the team was able to put together multiple different pieces of content to share this important message. Again, 1.2 thousand video views out on YouTube. Very impressive. This video will be out there all year long for people to touch base with, not just during the new year. That storytelling strategy is really crucial for groups right now. It's intentional content plus smart distribution, and that's how you get to that discoverability factor. Now, we're going to talk through some nuts and bolts of multi-channel, multimedia search and why it's really important for your content strategy to straddle all of the platforms that your priority audiences use. Search is shifting to, instead of focusing just on clicks and page views, we're going to shift to earning the share of answers, not just clicks. We want to show up in citations and get cited, of course, but getting those brand mentions on social, those views and listens on YouTube are just as important. And showing up with those answers where people are looking, not just on your website, is key. We'll show you some tips on how to do this without doubling your workload, without making the stress hit your team. We're going to show you how to achieve this by simply using the asset remix strategy like UT Southwestern uses and many other successful groups. So asset remix maximizes your content and stories through proactive, audience-centric strategy and planning. We take, like we mentioned with UT Southwestern, that video interview then becomes the information source for a blog story. That then becomes short videos, and then it has the potential to become a lot of different things. Audio snippets that can be embedded into the page, email content to drive people to your various channels, social media posts to get your subject matter expert's name and brand out there. That doesn't even require them to come to your site, just a little engagement in a moment that matters to your audience. And at the end of the day, you're going to have brand success when you do this repeatedly for your priority topics. So we want to make a little delineation here. Short and long content serve different, distinct purposes for your business. They give your audience a different touchy-feely experience. So long form content really is the foundation of your content strategy. What you do with it thereafter is really what creates that impact both for your users and for your brand. So let's start with long form content. Google and AI generally favor that long form content. Blog stories tend to get surfaced higher in AI search. We're seeing YouTube and other types of long form content getting surfaced there as well, alongside media mentions. They often actually beat out brand sites in AI search because part of the reason I believe is because it's being given a little bit more weight because it's user engagement, user focused. It's answering questions and not just stating facts about a brand. Long form content really speaks to user intent. And when we say long form content, it can be lots of different things. My brain always goes straight to blog, you all know that. But it can also be videos, it can be feature stories, it can be anything that really requires more than a quick engagement to consume the whole thing. But the cool thing about long form content is that it can really answer multiple variations of a question in one piece without belaboring the reader or the audience member to have to go through the entire piece of content to get the information they want. So let me show you what that means. In the intermittent fasting blog, I've zapped up the little questions that we used as headers for this story and just put them here on the page. There are a lot of different questions that people have about intermittent fasting. What is it? Does it work? Are there health risks? How much protein do I need? And in one article, we covered all of those questions. So each of these questions then, if UT Southwestern chose to do so, could become its own short video. Some of them could become infographics. Some of these could be additional sound bites embedded into the piece. The world really is your oyster when we're thinking about answering questions, because a topic as big as this, or a topic as big as a specific program or a specific career track at a college, has the capacity to have endless questions, which means you have the capacity to answer those endless questions. When you hear about chunking your content or breaking apart long form into little digestible pieces all over the place, we have to think about what that means. Long form content broken up by subheadings, in my opinion, is one of the top ways that you can chunk up your content without having to physically, technically break it apart. You have one URL that demonstrates authority on the topic, answers all of these different types of questions in one format, and gives users a really easy way to engage with your content. They can scan to the question that they want answers for, they can scan to the topic, read just that piece, and if it stands alone, if it's written in a strategic way, they can get that information and continue their search out through your website, out through your social channels, wherever they are engaging with this content. And it really is easy for humans and chatbots, both out in the AI LLM world, to pick up and digest that you are answering these questions. So giving you the capacity to get surfaced, to get discovered even better. Plus, this is a really nice framework for the future of headless CMS style content, repeatable content elements. Depending on how a page is structured, you could set up each of these questions and answers in its own little block or component, which could then be shared across different pages. So there are a lot of really strategic reasons to build long form content with that strategy in mind, that you're going to be remixing it across different platforms and different pieces of your website. Asset remix really is a strategy. It's a mindset that makes serving answers really manageable. Sometimes you'll hear us refer to this as a total brand narrative. You're really just creating this web that ties all of your pieces of content together. So your schema, your texts, your newsletters, your video, your long form and short form blog articles, your social, all of these things engage together. They're all connected, and they start with that interview process in the beginning. But if you're like a lot of folks, when you hear this fire hose, you say, this sounds like a lot of work. It doesn't have to be a lot of work. With a really good plan and good partners, it's a lot less work to do this from the start than to start from scratch every time, to go back and find that interview, go back and find that transcript and pull it all apart again. If you have a plan in place, if you don't try to do everything all at once for everybody, it means you are going to position that piece of content to become discoverable, and you won't be left in the dust. So this is a silly little image of me for your viewing pleasure. It's from our podcast, so like and subscribe. Asset Remix really helps you speak to all of the journey points without having to start from scratch. Like I said, for each audience, for each platform. You can do this per topic, per subtopic, per story, whatever works the best for you and for your audience. It's really just a thought process of how are we going to use this piece for the long term, not just how are we going to get this long piece out the door. Start big, go small. Trimming those longer videos or articles is really easier than starting from scratch each time and having to reshoot and reshoot and reshoot. You're getting the pieces without doing the rework. This is another example of how to do that, but with video. So these are a couple of videos from our friends at Southeastern Community College. We actually presented on this at NCMPR in 2025, my colleague Emma Rose and I from SCC. So take a look at these great videos when we send out this slides from this episode, from this webinar. It'll give you a really nice unfolding of this story. Long form video. It lets the reader experience the emotions of the individual. This is a story about Erin. She dropped out of high school. Her parents were kind of tough on her, and they said, well, if this is the choice you're going to make, these are the consequences you're going to live with. She found success at SCC because, as she reveals in this video, the faculty don't give up on their students. It has a 1-minute, 41-second runtime. So we're not going to play this one for you just for mindfulness of time, but do watch it. It's extremely well done, and it's very emotional. It's a really lovely story. There is power in that type of story because it's at the top of the brand or the consumer funnel. Brand awareness, brand lift, really pulling on those heartstrings. gets people to notice your brand. Then Emma and the team put together a mid-length piece. This one runs about 30 seconds. It reveals some emotion, but it's really more attuned to the conversion aspect. So getting deeper and deeper towards that decision-making process. Her faculty experience at SCC is what is really highlighted here, and she emphasizes her personal message, which is learning a lot about herself.
This will be my first ever graduation because I did not graduate high school. I got a GED. Was very fortunate to have parents that said, you've got some choices to make. You can have a hard 2 years or you can have a hard life. It's all about choices. I have yet to meet a person that works for this college that does not have a vested interest in me. And I have gotten so much more than I thought that I was going to. Because I've learned a lot about myself too.
Isn't that super nice? That's just such a lovely way to encapsulate the SCC experience. This is more of a mid-funnel piece. She's researching, she's asking, what's in it for me? And this is how you connect with students who are kind of in that mid-decision funnel. They've decided, yes, I want to go to college, and now they're trying to decide, is SCC the place where I want to go? Next is the short. A lot of you are very familiar with shorts. These are the types of videos you see out on Reels, out on TikTok, out on YouTube Shorts. So with these short pieces, it's really for impact. This piece definitely emphasizes the what's in it for me factor. It tells you this is the way, come to SCC, and it's only about 12 seconds. It leads with the main point, which is that faculty experience, omitting some of her emotional backstory. This is really a closer to bottom of the funnel. We want you to convert. This is the answer you're looking for if you're just trying to make that decision if SCC is the school for you.
I have yet to meet a person that works for this college that does not have a vested interest in me. And I have gotten so much more than I thought that I was going to. Because I've learned a lot about myself too.
Quick, to the point, very impactful. It's almost at the pointy end of that funnel, and it's close to that conversion point. This is a piece that they're trying to get you to convert into coming to SCC by giving you that pointed answer. This is what's in it for you. So let's go through a couple of little tips that you can use to do this with your own content. Planning assets is one of the key components of the asset remix strategy. Understanding where your audience looks for answers, understanding where they spend their time, helping your team connect the goal of your content with the goal of your consumer, whether that's long, whether that's short form. Understanding what your audience needs from you gives you the springboard for providing that information. If you have a really awesome long video or a blog story, that is the perfect starting point to repurpose. Even if you don't have a video interview, starting with that long form piece of content is the way to go. You could record a really quick short video. You could create a LinkedIn carousel, share quote cards out on social. That's a really fun way to give people something to tap on without driving them to your website necessarily. You can send it out via email or do what we're doing today. Host a little lunchtime webinar talking about what your audience needs to learn from you. Over time, we're going to be looking at these different beyond click conversion points. We've been talking about this for quite a while with a lot of our groups, but it's going to be something that you're going to hear about more and more. So brand sentiment, do more people know about us? Do more people love us? How do we know that? Are they chatting with us, talking with us? When we're getting site traffic, is it relevant? Is it full of bots, or is it people who have visited our other touch points, have talked to people on our staff? What are they doing on our platforms? Where are they looking beyond just that initial touch point? Other types of conversions outside of the website, like subscribing to your social channels, following you, responding to pieces about you on earned media. These are all really important conversion points that signal intention, at least at the top of the brand awareness level. Looking at your reach and impressions. Sometimes these get a little fuzzy, especially out on social media, but they're important to keep track of as you're planning your content pieces and figuring out what gets the most bang for your buck. You don't want to put every piece of content across every platform. That will exhaust your team almost immediately. So use that reach and impression data to really understand where you're getting the most engagement across these platforms, and then prioritize where your audience is most. And then volume of stories. Are you telling enough stories at the right speed, at the right length, on the right platforms? Keeping track of how people engage with you, where and to what frequency will really help guide you as you prioritize the platforms to be on. So at the end of the day, discoverability really goes to the content that answers the questions people want at the top of the funnel, really importantly in the middle of that funnel, giving them lots of different media type touch points to get those answers in the way that they really want to see them, and then answering those questions. Discoverability really goes to the content that answers the questions when the people are asking them. So if you put out a long form piece of content, you are giving people the opportunity to come to it once, come to it twice, come to it 3 times, scan it, really engage with it long form, up to them, really what they need in that moment. But by putting that piece out there, it's an existing foundation that they can come back to. When people are engaging with question and answer type content, they're also indicating intent. They need an answer, and they've chosen you to get that answer from, regardless of if they come to your website or if they're engaging out on social, Reddit, YouTube, any of those channels where your brand happens to be. If you're kind of stuck trying to come up with ways to break apart a long form piece of text content, one of the really nice applications that you can use AI for is to give you some social media starters. If you take a piece of content, for example, we use the SEC paying for scholarships page as an example here. We put the URL out into Gemini and said, hey, give us some social media text based on this topic. The AI tool scans the page. It provides some sort of dorky scholarship related social media posts. We then edit that text to make it a little bit less dorky, a little bit more human, and trim down those hashtags because they're not as important as they used to be. So it doesn't give you a perfect answer, AI, but it does give you a starting place if you're stuck and you're not sure where to go. The goal of these tools is to make your life easier, not to do it all for you. If you're new to making short form video, CapCut is a really nice tool that we use at Stamats. It lets you take long video and break it down into snippy little shorts, and it allows you to create scripts that then become videos. So it's a nice way to make snackable social clips. And again, Canva offers a lot of really great options. There are free versions and then a paid version as well. Some of these are with the paid version and some are with the free. So it allows you to do screen recording. You can make video edits. You can even make branded templates for your social. It's a really nice user-friendly tool if you're not necessarily a designer, but need to do a little bit of fancy design work. And again, you want to really make sure that you're using your audience data when you're choosing the topics to talk about in your videos and in your blog. So we offer this Looker Studio dashboard to our groups at Staymates. It's really nice because you can sort through by the queries that are already bringing people to your site, and you can figure out how to break those queries down into even more scannable, niche type questions that you can answer. There are also, of course, tools like ChatGPT that you can search through, Google Trends that you can search through, and tools like SEMrush and Moz that will give you breakdowns of your own site, of your competitor's site, and so forth. Again, these are just tools that help you identify the questions that people are asking so that you can provide smart, timely answers. If you are ready to start remixing, we would love to hear from you. But if you want to check out a free guide first, I encourage you right now to take a little quick glance at this article by my colleague Kelly Heidelbaugh. It's called Hidden Gems. It's just a little strategy guide on how to unearth and repurpose your content assets. So you can get it by downloading it from our bit.ly, or we can send that out to you as well after we send these slides out. So thank you again for your attention, and I would love to hear some questions from the audience.